Welcome back to Design and Thrive podcast. We have a special guest from Kelowna, BC. His name is Fraser from EntheoTech. Hello, Fraser.
Hey there, Nock. Thank you so much for having me on. Looking forward to chatting.
Awesome. So let's zoom in. Tell us the origin story of your business. What sparked the idea?
So it's really my own journey with kind of chronic pain and mental health. So I actually had three big shoulder surgeries before I was 21 from trying to play pro rugby. So I was kind of left in chronic pain and was kind of seeking alternative therapies to help me heal. And really, once my kind of pro rugby career went down the drain, was kind of left with a bit of an identity crisis. So for me, it was really my use of psychedelics and some of these alternative therapies like peptides and stem cells and PRP that really helped shift the relationship with my pain and my body. And for me, it was really just looking at friends and family members throughout my 20s that had struggled with mental health issues. And, I'd suggested, a psychedelic therapy session, and they were kind of like, what? Like, man, you're crazy. How's that going to help me? So with some education, just helping them understand the treatment a little more, they ended up taking the leap themselves and had these transformational experiences. And it was really from them, they were like, whoa, this is not what I thought it was. And they had such transformational outcomes. They were just like, how come everyone doesn't know about this? So that was really what planted the seed for me to say, how do we bring these therapies into mainstream healthcare in a way where they're trusted and seen as a legitimate treatment?
Okay. So for your therapies, who do you serve and how do they find you?
So great question. So I always kind of break this down into two buckets. So we serve clients with big T trauma. So that's your dramatic and traumatic life events. Whether it's veterans, people struggling with PTSD, even suicidality. So that's kind of the big T trauma bucket. And we also have those with little t trauma. So, whether it's just kind of daily anxiety, depression, you're burnt out, you're a high performer, that's really just looking for some performance management techniques. We've really started to see that as, a bigger growing segment in our clinic. So how most people find us is usually just through our website, whether it's SEO or some of our advertising. So one of the big key components for us is even physician education. So we've done a lot of physician education here in the Okanagan. So even for people going to see their family doctors for kind of depression, anxiety, PTSD, burnout, is educating those physicians that are now like, hey, you could be a perfect candidate for Odyssey Therapeutic experiences. So we're finding the referral sources are actually being a great source of clients for us too from these GPs.
Okay. So about the business model and the breakdown of how it actually works, how does your business actually make money? Like, let's break that down for the audience.
So beautiful question. So we kind of have kind of couple revenue streams within the clinic. So our core business is Odyssey Therapeutic experiences. So we charge $1,700 for our first experience, which includes a mental health consult and a physical consult. They also then receive lifetime access to our app, Odyssey Online. So we kind of have educational resources in there. We teach other healing modalities like breathwork, meditation, and yoga. So we find helping our clients develop their own mindfulness practice is a really good catalyst along with the treatment to help regulate their nervous system. They then have preparation and integration therapy, so pre and post, and they have their experience in clinic with the medical supervision. So we have ongoing treatments there that have, the pre and post therapy. We have different service options where they can have the experience with just integration therapy, and then they also can just have the ketamine experience itself. And then we also do a focus on pain treatments. So we do things like PRP, prolotherapy, lidocaine infusions, therapeutic Botox. And we also do IV infusions as well as kind of our mindfulness classes within the clinic too. So a couple different revenue buckets we have there.
Okay, cool. Now you mentioned Odyssey. Is that your core offer? What's your core offer and what makes it different from the noise out there?
So Odyssey is definitely our core offering. So what we look at is we call it a clinic ecosystem knock. So most of the time our clients are coming in for the therapeutic experience, and then we're essentially cross-selling them on our different services. Or if someone's coming in on the pain side for PRP, a lot of the time we've noticed is chronic pain and mental health are bidirectional. So they're comorbid. So lots of the times people that have been struggling with chronic pain have that comorbid mental health condition. A lot of the time the pain has affected their lifestyle and their mood. So kind of one of the key indicators for us is we collect intake scores from all of our clients. So a PHQ-9 score is kind of the main measure of depression in kind of Western Canadian medical system. So it's a scale that runs from 0 to 27. So we actually started noticing a lot of our chronic pain patients were sometimes, anywhere in that 20 to 27 range. So for us, it's just asking a series of questions, how's your mood? What's going on at home? How are you sleeping? We noticed you have a high depression score. And then from there, it's like, you could be a perfect candidate for one of these therapeutic experiences. And we're really seeing there when our pain clients become mental health clients, that's where we're seeing this really synergistic benefit and outcome of treating both of those conditions.
Okay. Now, is EntheoTech, is it bootstrap right now, or are you guys funded? How has that shaped your strategy?
So great question. So we've actually taken on some angel investments. So we did our first round in 2021 and we raised 2.3 million. And then we're just raising an additional round right now for some growth capital.
Okay, awesome. So what's the hardest part of running your business right now, Fraser?
So that's, yeah, one of the biggest things I'd say is almost the stigma and just the lack of insurance and benefits coverage right now. So, I've been around psychedelics since I was 19 years old. So I'd say, it's part of my culture. And that's the big thing we've learned with, doctors' educations and everything is there is still that stigma out there of like, holy, you're giving people drugs, like, huh? And really seeing like what this is a form of therapy. So really for us, it's leading with that data that we have from the clinic and kind of worldwide clinical trials right now to really start to break down that stigma. So on the insurance and benefits side, that's been one of the biggest things I didn't expect too, is coming from Scotland. We have a very defined two-tier healthcare system of private and public care. So when I first came out here, I just always had the mindset of, I want high quality healthcare, I'm going to pay for it. So one of the things we've seen is, a lot of the time, people that really need this treatment, then maybe their work life has been affected with their mental health, so they haven't been able to work. So they're like, hey, I'd love to do this treatment, but I just can't afford it right now. So what we're seeing is there's no direct billing that exists for us. So how that would potentially work is, if you go to the dentist, say you do a $600 treatment, you go up to the desk to pay and they're like, hey, we've direct billed your insurance company. You was $80. So that doesn't exist for us yet. So the client pays up front privately and then they submit to the insurance company on the back end. So it was just really last year we saw a big shift in the coverage where we're seeing clients get anywhere from kind of $200 to $800 covered of the treatment, but it's highly dependent on, who their insurance is with and what their plan is. So we're really hoping to see that shift in the next 1 to 2 years because I think that will be a big inflection point in our industry to help open this up to the masses.
Okay, awesome. So are you currently bottlenecked? What are you doing about it?
So great question. So the big thing for us is looking at different kind of service offerings. So, intramuscular ketamine is the main one we're doing right now. So we do some psilocybin and MDMA under the special access program with Health Canada. So what we're actually coming out with in the clinic, and we've just launched it actually last week, is sublingual ketamine. So our intramuscular experience is, $1,400 for the pre and post therapy and the experience. We're coming out with our sublingual ketamine experience at $400. So it's a much easier price point for people to pay privately and, get them into the clinic network so they can really have some benefit from these treatments and, see how they feel with them and see how they respond to treatment as well.
Isn't ketamine the drug or the substance that the Friends character got into in the news?
Yes, it is. So that's actually a beautiful question. So a lot of our investors ask that as well as, some of the doctors' education we've done. So I think the one key differentiation between the Canadian healthcare system and the US healthcare system of how they approach these. So we actually call the US healthcare system treat and street. So a lot of clinics that offer this, you can literally just roll in off the street, have your ketamine experience without any therapy, without any preparation, without any integration, and they just send you away. So the one thing we really notice about that is we're having, I think, a lot more sustained benefit and more profound results because we're actually having that pre and post therapy as well as our app support along with the ketamine treatment. So in the US, you also see take home ketamine. Whereas we don't do that at all in our clinic. All of our or therapeutic experiences are done under medical supervision. So we don't allow any take-home ketamine. And I think the experience with Matthew Perry is really, I think, why we have to do these treatments in a medical clinical format. Because I think when there's lack of education, there's potentially that, propensity for abuse there, where someone could just start to slide down that slippery slope and they're not actually getting to the root problem with the therapy. They're just using the substance again to mask a problem in their life there.
Okay, so let's talk about AI. What tools, if any, are you already using in your business?
So great question. So we use a lot of AI for our marketing funnel or our intake process. So that's how to kind of say the main way we use it. And we use a lot of time in our marketing content as well, just to help us lighten the load there with our marketing coordinator. And then the big thing we're doing right now is we're actually reviewing, there's actually some AI therapists that have come out. So potentially if people don't want to pay for the full, kind of in-person or virtual therapy, giving them some other solutions there with this AI therapist where they can still get some of that support, but we can bring it in at a much cheaper pricing level.
Now, what's one part of your business you wish AI can handle but can't yet?
Hmm. That's a brain teaser. So I'd say for us, it's probably on. Yeah, maybe really on the intake side. So really a good way of digesting, because we have a pretty extensive intake form from our clientele and even the intakes we do. So we do a mental health and a physical consult. So, there's a lot of manual, psychiatric nurse time there, physician time there. But, we're finding building that relationship with the client is so important because it builds that rapport and it builds trust. So, in future, if there was a way we could make that really highly personalized as well, or even lighten the load there for the psychiatric nurse and the physician, that would be potentially a great way for us.
Okay, awesome. So, what's the big vision for EntheoTech for the next 3 to 5 years?
So big vision for us is really expanding our Odyssey partner program. So what we're doing right now is partnering with existing pain clinics. So we train and certify the clinics and license our Odyssey brand. So we make them a treatment location. So they handle the physical ketamine experience. Whereas we take care of all the sales and marketing, the therapy, the intake, etc. So really handle the patient support that's required to effectively deliver these treatments. So the goal for us is to have 5 clinics by the end of this year. We've got kind of 2 clinics hopefully up and running by Q2. So really for us over the next kind of 2 to 3 years is having that clinic network across Canada and then looking to expand into the US as well.
Now, if there's an entrepreneur listening right now, what's your one piece of burn the ships advice? Go all in.
Man, so the big thing I've learned is business is a game of heart and will. It's not a game of mind. And really that's the thing is it requires a lot of perseverance and just a lot of just keep digging, keep going and figure out the problem. So that's the big thing I've learned is if you're passionate about something and you truly believe it can change the world, is you have to hop into 2-footed, dive in at the deep end and just get your hands dirty, roll up your sleeves. It's not going to be easy and you're going to just learn so much about yourself along the journey too. It's as much a spiritual journey as it a physical journey as well.
Okay. And for the viewers out there that are watching this video, how can they find you, your business online?
So our Instagram channel is a great place at EntheoTech. We have some great content on there, some educational resources too. So EntheoMed is actually what we call our flagship clinic here in Kelowna. And then odysseymethod.com is the psychedelic-assisted therapy brand we're scaling across the country. So a couple easy spots you can catch us there.
So that brings a close to the show with Design to Thrive. We had an amazing time with Fraser. Love to have you on again. Thank you, Fraser.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Not great to chat.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.